My 67, late wife Emily and I had 3 children together. Ross, 39, Katerina, 36, and Jacob, 29. With my current wife, Thai, I have a stepdaughter, May, 30, and a son, Tri, 21. When I was still married to Em, I started a business. I wouldn't call it big or anything, but we've been successful enough that it's mostly comfortable. None of my biological children were interested in the business. They've all been successful in their own lives, and I'm proud of them all. Anyway, they're certainly all smarter than me. May is for all intents my daughter. Her father was a piece of crap, and we have always been extremely close. She was interested and has followed in my footsteps with the business. She's worked with me since she was 16, knows how to run it, and is basically my second in command. I'm getting older, and it's been more and more of a struggle to work. My doctor even recommends I stop all the physical labor. I've been planning to retire and hand the business down. I've talked to my lawyer and it's mostly set up. Basically, it would be split 5 ways. All my children. From what I understand, my lawyer can set it up so that May will have voting shares, while the rest will have non-voting shares. So if I understand right, May will basically have full control. However, she has all the experience, knowledge, and interest in running it. She knows what she's doing, and the others don't. I think it's fair. They all get to benefit, but I know it will be run properly. I talked to my children about my plans, and it didn't go like I expected. My children from Emily were upset, and talked to me alone about it afterwards. They basically think May shouldn't have any say or share, or at least less of one. That she definitely shouldn't be in control. They say I'm disrespecting M's memory and basically punishing them for not going into the business. I tried to explain my thoughts, that they will all be protected, but May has experience and knows how to run my business. I don't care about blood. May is my child and deserves as much as them. Yes, May will have control over how it's run, but they all will benefit from it. They just won't accept it and think I'm favoring her unfairly. I don't think it's wrong. I'm looking out for all my children while making sure it survives. Maybe it's favoring her for being in the business, but she is the only one of my children who knows how to run it. They'll all equally profit. Hell, the 4 of them have priority of profits if I get it right. But I am worried, since they are taking it really badly. I love all my kids, and don't want to hurt them. Absolutely not the a-hole. They're all benefiting equally. May essentially gets a promotion in the job she's already doing. A well-earned promotion by the sounds of it. If May hadn't wanted to work with your business, presumably you'd be passing this role down to someone who wasn't family. It just so happens that your stepdaughter is the right person for the role. Not the a-hole. First and foremost, you get to decide how you'd like to split your stuff. Second, they all were not interested in the family business until now. Please, don't take their whining into account now. May has more than proven that she is the best suited to run the company. Not the a-hole. You are not favoring her. You are giving the control to somebody who has a lot of experience, and is the only one who does so. The fact that your other children are saying she should not have any shares at all is just messed up. It sounds like they are trying to grab as much money as possible. Quite frankly, your solution is a good one. All the kids get some security, while the business is run by the one who knows how to actually do it. My late husband, Adam, male 36, passed away a month ago. He had lung cancer and was terminal. I live in his house that he owned, still haven't done anything concerning inheritance. His brother lost his job and place and moved in with me a week ago. I gotta admit, I wasn't too pleased to have him move in with me, but I had no choice after I got talked into it by family, and since we had the chance to help each other grieve. Here's the situation. He started randomly walking into the bedroom and excusing it as needing to borrow something from Adam's closet. He wears his clothes and even started using his stuff, razor, laptop, etc. He also got his hands on his piano, which to me felt disrespectful because Adam wouldn't want it touched or moved. I try to have conversations with him about what's allowed, what's not, but he'd throw the "would Adam want you to treat me like that" line at me. It made me feel frustrated. I seriously started contemplating telling him to leave. Now the current conflict. I finally brought myself to open Adam's closet and found a box full of wrapped gifts. I read the piece of paper at the bottom, and he wrote that he had gotten me a gift for next year's occasions in advance, since he knew he wouldn't be around much longer. I was absolutely stunned. I looked at the gifts but didn't open them. There was a gift for my birthday, Valentine's, our wedding anniversary, Christmas, and so on. He said he wanted this gesture to also serve as a comforting method, so I wouldn't feel so devastated, since we know that grief gets tense during these times. I could not believe it. I mean, he was always this thoughtful, but I never just knew that his thoughtfulness could reach this level. I was out yesterday, and when I returned, I found that my nephews had opened all the gifts and ruined them. I was appalled. My joy instantly faded. I had a huge argument with brother-in-law, but he said the kids were curious and that it was my fault for not concealing my stuff like I should. I told him he had 3 days to move out. He started ranting about how it's his brother's house and how I was ruining family relationships over few gifts. Mother-in-law got involved and took his side, saying he's grieving and this is his brother's house and that I'm acting unhinged. Am I being too emotional? I wanted to feel his presence in his presence this coming year, but I feel like it was ruined for me. Not the a-hole. Now it's your house, so he needs to go. Your mother-in-law is welcome to take him in, and, by the way, you're grieving too, and he and his children are ruining family relationships. Your mother-in-law should care about that. Not the a-hole. They have all overstepped their welcome. Let the rest of the family have them. Your brother-in-law will continue to leech off you and your husband's things, and if they stay beyond a certain period of time, you may then have trouble getting rid of them, legally. Get your husband's possessions back off your brother-in-law. Any problems, call the police. I suggest asking them to leave immediately. Otherwise, they will be sneaking a lot more stuff from you. But you were unwise if you didn't reconceal the presents. Maybe you did and the children were invading your closet. Not the a-hole. They have zero right to anything in the home and shouldn't be anywhere they're not invited. Entering your home, rummaging through your things, opening gifts meant for you, then trying to blame you? They deserve worse than being asked to leave. You were generous to take them in, and they are paying you back by violating what's yours and disrespecting you. Giving them 3 days to leave rather than kicking them out on the spot is being gracious. I have a friend, Kelly, who hates everyone's boyfriend without exception. She has a problem with all of them and keeps telling the girls in our friend group that they should break up and find better men. Her husband is apparently perfect, and she almost always brings up something great about him. Truth is, her husband is a very sweet man, but he is a doormat and just does everything Kelly tells him to. For example, if we have girls' night out and Kelly doesn't feel like taking the bus home, she will call her husband at 2 a.m., wake him up, get him to come pick us up, and take us all home to different parts of the city. So yesterday, when our other friend Paige was venting a bit about her boyfriend being bad with finances, Kelly of course had to chime in, saying how that's really not okay, and even though her husband came from a poor background, just like Paige's boyfriend, he never made her pay on dates and such. At this point, I was already a bit tipsy, and jokingly told Kelly that, yeah, we know her husband is a perfect little puppy, but has it ever crossed her mind that not everyone wants a doormat man like her husband? Kelly didn't take it well, and told me to never call her husband that again, because being loving and kind doesn't make a man a doormat. I could only roll my eyes at that. She got all high and mighty about it, and I expected the 2 other girls present to be on my side, but they weren't. They just said some diplomatic BS about Kelly's husband being very sweet, and that I shouldn't call him a doormat, and changed the topic. Kelly ended up leaving early, and right as she left, the 2 other girls jumped at me, asking me what's wrong with me, and telling me I should apologize to Kelly. How is it okay for Kelly to criticize each and every one of our boyfriends, but the first and only time I say something about her husband, I'm an a-hole, and I should apologize? Isn't that BS? Am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. The example you gave actually makes your friend's partner sound good, and makes you sound jealous, and that he cares about his wife enough to pick her up in the middle of the night. Being loving and kind indeed does not make someone a doormat. So, yeah, you sound like a jealous a-hole. Said that Kelly should have kept her advice to herself. If you want a man that doesn't care, it's on you, and Kelly should just grab some popcorn and watch. Her criticism is likely fair, while yours is not, which makes you an a-hole. She should not give unrequested advice, then boasts about her own situation, which makes her an a-hole. Yes, the a-hole. Even if he is a doormat, you insulting him doesn't solve the main issue. Your friend is judgmental. Then again, you sound like you're judgmental as well. So, in my opinion, you should apologize about calling the husband a doormat. He sounds lovely, and you actually sound a bit ungrateful as well, if he came out of his way to drive you home safely, when his wife was the one worried about you. Butt out of Kelly's relationship and tell her how much you hate when she criticizes the significant others of your friends. And yours, I gather. You're the a-hole. It's pretty sad when women start referring to men who care about the safety of their spouse and her friends as doormats. Standards on the damn ground. Sounds like you're the only one who feels passionate about normalizing and looking past lackluster behavior from significant others. Not the a-hole. She can dish it out, but she can't take it. Give her time. She'll get over it. Then perhaps you guys can have a conversation about her hypercritical ways if she's open to it. My late sister and I started a business 25 years ago. She always had a passion for food, and I was always good with numbers. So we combined our skills and opened up a restaurant together. She was so excited about following her dream and being able to provide for her kids with it. 5 years later, she became unwell and died weeks after learning she had cancer. My sister and I talked about the business extensively. Before she died, she signed ownership over to me. She had me promise that if her kids wanted in, they would take over her share in the future, which I agreed to. At the time, we had discussed her husband and his place in it all. She had said she did not want him to control her share after her death, because she did not want his future wife and future children to potentially inherit from her. That she wanted it to be her gift to her children if they wanted it, not something that went to his new family once she was gone. Both kids became interested and have taken over their share. They will also take over mine someday, as my children are not interested. My sister's husband did remarry, and he did have more children, as well as a stepchild. Bad blood started to form after he remarried. His wife didn't like that her husband had no idea what the business was worth, and didn't like that he wasn't responsible for my sister's half. That would eventually be my niece and nephew's share. She told me she felt it was their job as the parents to have a say over what happened to it. I told her no way. He offered to buy me out of the restaurant, and I turned him down. He told me he didn't like knowing it would exclude most of his family if his kids wanted their share. I told him it would potentially include all of my sister's children, though. When the kids took over their half, they chose not to give access to their stepfamily. They warned me that their half-sister was already asking to be included. She's the oldest. She's 16. She had asked me before if she could be a manager and wanted to share her siblings' portion of the business. The kids' dad approached me recently and told me he wants me to allow her to work here and join the family business alongside his kids. He said my niece and nephew would benefit from forming a closer relationship with their half-siblings, and that it would mean so much to their half-sister to be welcomed in and made part of everything. I told him that was not happening. He grew frustrated and then accused me of being a monster and of interfering in his life after remarrying. He told me I was doing nothing but encouraging othering in his family, that it was unfair to punish him for moving on. I told him I was not punishing him, that his adult children had refused, and that was what he should focus on. But he needed to understand that his minor children are not my family, and therefore are not entitled to have anything passed down from me. He left, after accusing me of acting like I hate his kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You are following your late sister's wishes, nothing more. You don't owe him anything. Seems like him and his new wife are trying to get involved for the money, not the love of the business. I don't even think it's the money exactly. I'm sure that helps, but I believe it bothers the new wife that the kids have something that they don't want her and her children to be a part of, and that they have a family business that doesn't include her and her children. And I believe he just wants to make his wife happy. He never had any interest before she started to speak up. Not the a-hole, and your sister knew what was going to happen. It's actually happening. She hoped you were strong enough to withstand the barrage of hate that would eventually come from her husband's new wife and children. The thing about cancer is, it steals from generations of families. If your sister hadn't died, I'm very sorry. She wouldn't have split her business with her ex-husband's new children, as the only way the new kids would have been born would have been for your sister to get a divorce. And then he gets remarried and has kids. Of course, dying is different. But the facts are, the new kids aren't your family or your sister's family. They are strangers. Because your sister willed you her shares of the company with the sole reason of you being the protector, that means you stand at the gate, repelling all attempts of interference by whomever believes they deserve anything. They don't. And in the Book of Rules of Life playbook, if they want to be involved in a family business, they need to start one. Not the a-hole. You have kept your promise to your sister, when many would have given in to your former brother-in-law's relentless manipulation. She was right to entrust her share to you, since her husband and his new wife would have surely tried to insert themselves in the business and divided her half of the business among all the children. Yes, it has become painfully clear that my sister's share would have been split between all her husband's children, instead of between both of the children they shared together, maybe even the wife. I don't think he gives a crap about it. He's just trying to make his wife happy. I, female 40s, have 2 kids, female 20s and male 20s. They're both very successful, and I'm extremely proud of both of them. My daughter is a military nurse, and my son is a paramedic. They both love their jobs and have a real passion for what they do. I have an older brother, male 50s, who became a doctor later in life, and ever since he started medical school, I think he's had a huge ego problem. He frequently talks condescendingly about my children's careers and acts as if they are failed doctors. He'll say things like, "Oh, there's still time left for you to go to medical school," or make jokes about him getting jobs there and bossing them around at their workplaces. My kids are quite good at taking the high road and don't dignify his ignorance with a response, but it still irks me, and they shouldn't have to put up with his passive-aggressive comments. Later this month, I'm hosting a family dinner, and my siblings and their families are invited. I didn't want to blatantly not invite my brother, so I talked to him one-on-one about it. He insisted that he hasn't been talking down to my children. I repeated some of his comments, and he claimed that he didn't mean to be insulting, and that I'm just being overprotective of my kids' feelings. I said it's more than about feelings, and that they shouldn't have to put up with such behavior off their uncle, who should be supportive, and told him to either grow up and act like an adult, or not attend the dinner. My brother told me to get over myself and said that I'm acting like a stroppy teenager. Fragile ego on him, eh? He needs to try so hard to prove he's better than his nieces and nephews. He might have been forgivable if he'd said, "Oh gosh, I didn't mean it like that, my bad, I'll stop." But instead, he got his back up, doubled down, and insulted you as well. What an a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're in your 40s. You don't have to put up with your a-hole brother being a jerk anymore. You already said what you said, but I'm a fan of the take the a-hole down a peg or two technique. Brother mentions the kids' lack of medical school training. You say, "That's right. My kids keep people alive so you doctors can pretend to save the day." Obviously, he's an a-hole. He's not going to change no matter what you say. Drop the rope and ignore him. Just laugh at his stupid comments and change the subject. He probably enjoys seeing you get riled up. Stop reacting. You are not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. He's deliberately trying to dishearten your kids, and he shouldn't be invited if he can't respect the people around him.